private member's bill for introduction in the name of Deputy Paul Murphy and Ruth Coppinger. It's the Emergency Inspection of Dublin Zoo Bill 2025, first stage. Deputy Murphy.
Thanks very much. I'm moving this bill for an emergency inspection of Dublin Zoo in an effort to highlight a range of very serious issues at the zoo. None of them have been properly investigated, despite repeated attempts by concerned workers at the zoo to bring these issues to the attention, first of all, of management and HR, and then to the charity regulator, the NPWS, and even the Gardaí. When journalists have asked questions about this, they've been met with legal letters. One journalist received no fewer than 11 legal letters, including a letter sent to their entire workplace. The issues include very serious animal welfare issues, culminating in the deaths of numerous animals and the disappearance of whole species from the zoo. There are credible allegations of harassment, including sexual harassment of zoo workers by managers. There are financial irregularities, of which I now have documentary proof, including the misallocation of funds raised in a Save Dublin Zoo appeal during COVID to build an extension to the zoo director's house. To cap it all, there was a lack of concern and a total lack of proper oversight by the state over any of this. This is not some faceless bureaucratic organisation. It's a national institution loved by generations of children and their families who go there believing that the animals they see are being well cared for, and that by going to the zoo, they are contributing to the conservation of endangered species around the world. It gives me no pleasure to say that for some of these animals, this is far from the truth. Over the last few years, I've spoken on multiple occasions to zoo workers who are outraged at the neglect and mistreatment of animals at the zoo. To be clear, in most cases this is down to understaffing and a lack of proper training. It is the fault of zoo management, not at all of the workers. A recent example is the deaths of all the African wild dogs, an endangered species about whom welfare concerns were raised 3 years ago by NPWS inspectors and by myself in this House. This time, welfare concerns raised by experienced zookeepers weren't investigated in time and all the dogs died. One dog had cancer in the mouth that was left untreated and they had to be put down. Before it died, it got no medication or medical intervention. Another was pregnant and became very swollen. Her lungs and heart became filled with fluid. She never recovered after being administered an anaesthetic and died. That species is now gone from the zoo. The same thing happened with the wolves, who were all put down after a health check. That's 2 whole species gone from the zoo. Other animal deaths have included 4 bongo antelopes and a black buck whose leg was snapped in half and left hanging on by a ligament after being inappropriately transported in a horse box. This is a very small, fragile antelope who should never have been moved so roughly. Last weekend, a pregnant cheetah was moved from Photo Wildlife Park to Dublin Zoo on Halloween. She gave birth the next day and all the baby cubs are now dead. She should never have been moved when pregnant. Another incident I've raised in the past was the drugging of a family of elephants who were cruelly separated by zoo management. 2 of them died from stress, and the rest of the remaining herd developed herpes, reactivated by stress. Another serious problem at the zoo is harassment, including sexual harassment of workers and a refusal by HR to take appropriate action to protect staff. A female staff member repeatedly complained about being harassed by a male manager. He was eventually suspended for 4 months. During that time, he was at least one occasion sitting outside her house in a car late at night. This was reported to HR, but nothing was done. When she returned to work, the manager followed her around in an intimidating manner. Nothing was done about that either. She was then the only person to be made redundant in the zoo, while the male manager is still a senior member of staff. Last April, the same woman had a brick thrown through her front window. On a previous occasion, when I spoke about issues in Dublin Zoo in the Dáil, the tyres of her car were slashed. In another incident, 3 female members of staff were sexually harassed by a male manager at a conference. A subsequent HR investigation confirmed 3 instances of harassment, still a senior manager at the zoo. The final set of issues relate to the misallocation of funds raised by a Save Dublin Zoo appeal during COVID. An investigation by the charity regulator found that some of those funds were used to build an extension to the then zoo director's house. I have a letter here from the zoo, released only under Freedom of Information, admitting that the funds were used for for this extension. I also have an email from the charity regulator stating that they would not publish the COVID funds investigation because, quote, the publication of this information could be detrimental to the zoo's reputation. Even if they did their job properly, the charity regulator's remit is limited and does not extend to animal welfare. An entirely new system of independent oversight is urgently needed. I hope that this bill can be the first step in developing that.
Thank you, Deputy Murphy. Is the bill being opposed? Not being opposed. So the motion for leave to introduce is agreed, and I would ask Deputy Murphy to move that the second stage be taken in private members' time.
I so move.
Agreed? Agreed. So we'll now suspend until 2:10.